Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another update. So it has been actually quite some time, but in today's update, I really want to take a revisit once again to talk a little bit about the unemployment benefits just situation in general. It has been a little bit of time since I've talked about it, but the real reason really why is because it is admittedly true that in the world, or just simply put inside of Congress, they have been a little bit quieter. Not quiet, not completely quiet, but just quieter when it comes to just doing unemployment programs. Now, the big thing is that there are still unemployment related stuff that's happening, which is what today's update is going to be about. The big idea really is that it's a very similar story to what's been going on with fourth stimulus checks, in the sense that the probability of being able to see something on the federal level now is not very highly. Let's just simply, it's possible, it's always possible, but it's just not something that's a priority right now, especially with everything going on in our world, such as like inflation, interest rates, the war currently that's in Russia, Ukraine, and everything that's pretty much going on inside of our world, which is a really, really crazy time. But the big thing in today's update is I just want to catch up to speed to talk about the proposals that have now officially just been released in order to do unemployment related programs just in general. So we're going to get right to it, but as always, real fast, before we begin, consider smashing the like button, because at least we are talking about something that I think is relatively good, because it's at least, it's trying to progress the country forward. I think there's that. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell if you're interested in similar videos like this. Of course, you guys can decide. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, maybe personal thoughts, predictions, or honestly just really anything at all. It's always great to just simply hear from you, new and familiar faces. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So the first thing that we're really going to talk about is the fact that right now in the state of Florida, there was recently a brand new proposal. Again, this is a proposal, so it's not official, that was actually just released right here, that's essentially hoping to try to do a brand new program where they're going to be doing $375 per week for unemployment. And on top of that, what's interesting about this bill is that it's also looking to try to increase the eligibility, and along with also the actual time length that you can be on unemployment for. So beforehand, it used to be in Florida that if you got approved for unemployment, you would be able to get onto there for 12 weeks. But of course, there were also a lot of other programs like the peuc, the FedEd, the EB, that took it for much significantly longer than 12 weeks to something, for many cases, even like into the 40-50 weeks range. But the idea is that through this program, they're going to take the base rate or the base length for people that are on just the regular unemployment, because sadly, PUC and PUA is now over. Now, maybe there'll be proposals that'll bring it back, or programs that will act similar to PEUC and PUA. But at this current time, they're going to extend it from basically 12 weeks up to 13 to 14 total weeks of unemployment. And that's really the story that's going on in Florida. Now, interestingly, Virginia also has another proposal right now. And this proposal is actually something that's already actually been approved in several other states. Not approved in Virginia, but approved in several other states, where, if you guys remember from actually probably about 2 months ago, wild enough, like basically about the end of last year, we talked a little bit about how there are several states right now that are trying to create, or have actually already approved and created, some kind of program in order to allow people that lose their jobs related to something about the vaccine. So whether this is because they don't want to get the vaccine, or maybe they lose their job because of the vaccine, or just anything related to that world, they can now use this to jump back onto the unemployment program. So the new proposal is something that's going on actually in the state of Virginia, that is now hoping to try to expand the program there. I do believe, as maybe a very, very quick recap, that this was a program that was actually already approved in 5 other states, although there might be even more at this point. I believe in Arkansas, Florida, Iowa, Kansas, and Tennessee, they did have a program that was going on. And some of them still do actually have a program, even to this day, to allow people to go back onto the unemployment program if they ended up having to lose work because of the vaccine. So the story really now is that Virginia has a proposal that they're trying to do essentially the same exact story. Now, there is also another more interesting bill, and this one's actually very, very actually very, very potentially useful is really in the state of Idaho. So Idaho, interestingly, actually has a new tax bill that was just recently proposed. Again, this is just proposed, where they're now hoping to actually, interestingly, try to bring back and reborn and revive the unemployment tax cut program that we all really, really missed. If you guys remember from pretty much 2020 and then into, I guess, the first half of 2021, because the first half of 2021 is when you do taxes for the previous year, which is 2020. There is now essentially a program that they're trying to do there, or that existed back then, where they would essentially try to waive up to $10,200 worth of taxes, or of the unemployment amount that you received in taxes, which often came out to be about $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the specific state that you're in. It basically acted almost as like a $2,000 tax rebate slash stimulus, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is money that's either going in your pocket, or money that's, or less money being taken from your pocket, so helping your bank account to make the difference of about $2,000. So the story right now is that, sadly, across the country in most states, they are not doing the unemployment tax cut program anymore. I wish, in a lot of ways, I was also on the unemployment program throughout most of last year. Most of you guys know, but for new people here, outside of all of this, I work in the TV, film, and events industry, so you can imagine that my industry was one of the first to be impacted when we all went into lockdown. So we sincerely wish that they were able to extend the program, but the story is that it's very probable right now that maybe states will try to do it on their own. One of these states, as just mentioned, happens to be in Idaho. So that is just maybe something to potentially look forward to if you happen to be there. Now, when it comes to just the world of pretty much every other state in general, I think the big idea is that, as just mentioned, similar to stimulus, everything going on is going to be a very focused, very, very state and very, very specific demographic group of people. But one of the bills I do know that actually is trying to pop up, and it's really something that's hopefully going to apply to actually all 50 states, is really about a lot of the unemployment revamping bills. So what this really is that there are several bills that are now floating around. Some of you guys might have remembered one of them was called the Wyden bill. I probably have a very old video. Maybe I'll put it at the end screen. It's probably buried, but you can probably find it on my page if anything. Essentially what it is that it's a bill that's talking about trying to improve unemployment in general. So not necessarily do a direct program, but essentially to try to make it so that a lot of the difficulties, and feel free to share any stories that you guys might have gone through back then, whether this had to do with things like the ID check, fraud, security, the actual unemployment systems, the speed, how long it took to get a lot of things processed, to deliver payments, communication, everything around that world, and actually probably even justice related to us, and probably the thing that all of us really care about, is that they might be trying to increase the base rate of the actual unemployment, like the traditional unemployment, so that if people in the future try to get onto unemployment in general, now the actual rate that they would qualify for would just simply be something even greater. But of course, that's all just something that we're really just waiting around to see right now. But I think hopefully the ideas and the big, maybe bottom line conclusion and significance is that there are a lot of bills that are happening. There are a lot of proposals. And while they do cover different parts of, what they're trying to do, the idea is that the big picture is that everything that we've been, discussing is basically all about unemployment. That's really the big umbrella, whether it's about more unemployment payments, improving the unemployment systems, creating a program for specific kinds of unemployment people, or the unemployment tax side of things. The idea is that there's things that are happening. So, but really, beyond that is that's what I really wanted to share in today's update. So if you guys hopefully maybe found that relatively insightful or maybe even enjoyable, consider smashing the like button if you guys haven't done so. Huge thanks if you guys made it all the way this far and maybe already did. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts, maybe consider subscribing for similar videos. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.